Hi, hello, beautiful souls in spiritual mind realities. In today's topic, I want to introduce you to a series of the laws of the universe. And in today's session, we're going to talk about the law of polarity. So, do you want to have harmonious relationships in your life, not only with other people, but also with yourself? Don't you want to feel that confidence that when you are undergoing a challenge or trying to achieve a goal that's bigger than you? So by aligning yourself, your mind and your action to the laws of the universe, you can get to a better emotional state. You can get better relationships, and you can achieve that inner peace, no matter your circumstance or the events or the other people you are dealing with. So there are seven laws of the universe. If you look somewhere else, you may see like 12 laws of the universe. But I found there's some redundancy. For example, the law of gender, there's male and there's female. So I believe the law of gender can be incorporated to our topic today, which is the law of polarity. So is the law of duality. Uh, or duality coexist. They can all go under the umbrella of the law of polarity. So in this teaching, I'm going to condense it and take it to the essential so you can apply in your life without the overwhelm. So here we're going to talk about the law of polarity today. The laws of the universe, the seven laws I'm going to introduce in the next few days, they are universal laws. That means whether or not we know it, it exists. Just like gravity, even we don't understand gravity, even we don't know that exists, it still works on us. It works on us regardless whether we are aware of it or not. Similarly, the laws of the universe works without us knowing, but by understanding it, by consciously understanding the law of the universe, it helps us create our future more consciously, deliberately, and powerfully. Just as fish doesn't know water because it's in the water all the time, we may not and know that there's laws of the universe that governs everything that we do because it's everywhere, it's universal. So the purpose of introducing the law of the universe is for us to be consciously applying it in our life. So uh, everything we do will be more harmonious, we become more self-confident. So the law of the polarity means everything is, you know, uh, kind of like, gradient is a polar. You have the extremes. The best way to understand this law is to imagine a stick. A stick has two ends, the both ends, and everywhere in between. So the two ends are like the polar opposites. They're like the male and the female, good or bad, yin and yang, or those concepts, hot or cold, tall or short. So that's the you have the stick with polars with both ends. So that like everything is like that. Everything has a polarity. That's the law of the universe. So what that means is, for example, when you have a desire, if you want to get to a better health, when you want to achieve business success, when you want to have better relationships, when that is in your consciousness, you have a desire, you know what you desire. That means what you desire is already out there because of the law of the polarity. They coexist. When you have a question, the answer is there. This is very inspiring because what you desire, what you want, is wanting you back. That means you are destined to achieve that success. And when you have that intention, because of the law of polarity. They coexist. We can also use the law of polarity in our emotions. Emotions are energy. In a future session, we're going to talk more about that, the emotions, the energy part of it. Now, emotions, we have a different type of emotions, but our emotions are like a gradient, and you have the extremes. For example, we have fear, and as opposite, polar opposite of fear is excitement. So these energies, they are transferable because they are like both ends of a stick. So everywhere in between, you have different levels of fear. Maybe you have just a little bit of fear or severe fear as one polar extreme. And then on the other end of the stick, you have excitement and you have everything in between. Maybe due to the limitation of human language, we cannot exactly describe each level of fear and each level of excitement and where they meet the place of neutral. That's due to the human language limitations. But the law of the universe is that it's law of polarity. They are essentially the same thing, but at a different gradient. What is that thing? Now here's another example of our emotion is embarrassment. So that's a polar extreme. And on the other side of that extreme is, uh, so we're talking about embarrassment. Then we have pride. So that's another polar opposite of embarrassment. They are similar in energy, but at the polar opposite. So you can see the world we're living in is in a polar opposite and everything in between. That's the law of polarity. The law of polarity tells us they are essentially same thing. For example, cold and hot. They are two polar opposites. And what it is temperature. The thing we're describing is temperature. Not only we have cold, we have hot, and we have every temperature in between. So that's the law of polarity. And the thing that actually exists is temperature. And temperature is the thing we are measuring here. And we have different levels, different gradients. We have a comparison. Without cold, then there's no hot. So you have to have a comparison to see that. Also in the Chinese culture, there's the yin and yang, and yin and yang, the sign, if you look at the sign, is brilliant. In the center of the yin, you see yang, and in the center of yang, you see yin. That means they transform into each other. They are interconnected. That displays the universal law, the law of polarity. So the take-home message for this is when you have a desire, when you want something, that something is wanting you back. So you are destined to achieve success. So you need to have this sure confidence because if it's not going to be destined to come to physical reality, you will not have that desire in the first place. They are like the polar opposites. So it first started in the desire, and the other end of the stick is the realization, the physical realization of your desire, of your goal. So that's all for today's episode. The law of the universe, the number one is the law of polarity. And you can use the metaphor of a stick with two ends as an example. You get the polar opposites and you get everything in between. So is the male and the female energy. When we say a man and a woman, they are the polar extremes. in essence, is our energy. It's a feminine energy and muscular energy. We all have both energies within us. Is the proportion that's different, and the proportion goes like a gradient. So that also tells us the universal law of the universe, the number one, the law of polarity. I hope you enjoyed this episode and put in your comments what you learned, what your inspirations from this episode, and please also contribute to the thread what you think is amazing about this law. And I'll see you next time. Bye.